hate having to start this up for like tiny little things. I swear this garage is slanted. This car shouldn't be this heavy. Right, this made 432 horsepower on the dyno yesterday. Let me talk you through exactly how I got it there. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Let's pop the bonnet and have a look inside here. Looks like a pretty ordinary M235. However, it's making 432 horsepower at the flywheel. I'm going to show you guys exactly how you can do the same. Now you may look at this and think, oh wow, pretty much stock M55, doesn't look like anything special, no massive turbo, nothing. That's because getting 432 horsepower, which is what I made, is relatively easy. So how did I make this kind of crazy number for pretty much a stock car engine-wise, and about 100 horsepower more than the factory that this comes out with 326 at the fly? Let me talk you through it. So like I mentioned, there's nothing special going on the top of the engine. We've basically got an MHD tune, which I'll show you now. I carry my MHD adapter with me on the car at all times in case I need to tune it. This is the adapter, as well as I have the super license, which is what I ran the tune with, Stage 2+. So I have MHD, as well as a few other bolt-ons. Now, first thing we're going to talk about is the exhaust. You can't make 100 horsepower without doing something with the exhaust. If you're running the stock cat and everything like that, it's going to be too restrictive, and you're either just going to blow your catalytic converter up, or your turbo is going to have too much back pressure and it's going to be an issue. Now, if you're familiar with N55s, the exhaust manifold and turbo is on this side. I'm not going to tell you what's down there. Pretty much, I'm sure you can guess. Let's just say it's not very restrictive.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But for legality reasons, there's still a catalytic converter there. Next thing we're going to talk about, while we're talking on the top of the engine, we have got cooler running spark plugs. The only reason I did this is because when you're pushing higher horsepower, your standard spark plugs, which are kind of made for fuel efficiency and everything like that, aren't going to cut it. So do your research, get some upgraded plugs. Regarding coil packs, they're the stock ones that come with the N55. I have done absolutely nothing with them. They're working faultlessly for now. Now the next thing is not too noticeable, but it sits right down here. Now right in there, believe it or not, is a 5-inch stepped intercooler. This thing is massive, like at least the length of my hand. And this helps with air intake temperatures. As you would have seen in yesterday's video, if you want to see it up one of the corners, the air intake temps on the dyno were really high. We were at 50 degrees Celsius, which was not helping the runs at all. However, if I was running this tune with a stock intercooler, it would have just been a nightmare. The engine we could have risked catastrophic damage. So of course, if you want to run that kind of horsepower, you're going to have to upgrade the intercooler. I know you guys can't see it too well, it's pretty subtle, but it is in there. Now if you are familiar with N55s, or if you're not, the high pressure fuel pump is just down there, that thing. That is completely stock. I've done absolutely nothing regarding fueling on this car. The only benefit I do have with living in the UK is we do get 99 octane fuel. So basically, the main petrol station I go to is Tesco, and they sell something called Tesco Momentum, which is super unleaded. Basically, the highest octane fuel we can get in the UK. Now, this definitely helped with being able to achieve that horsepower. I know a lot of my American viewers can only get like 93, 95 octane. Obviously, I couldn't have achieved 432 brake at the fly with a lower octane fuel. Now here's the key as well. I also mapped the engine for 93 octane with 98 and 99 roughly octane fuel in the tank. Now why did I do this? Well, believe it or not, around the engine there's more sensors than I can probably count on both my hands, and these monitor everything. Now one crucial thing that the engine can do when it communicates with the ECU and everything like that is if the fuel is bad, it's going to ignite it too early, and then obviously that's not going to help with horsepower. And the engine notices this. It's something called knock. And what that does then, the ECU communicates with all the other sensors and figures out, okay, this fuel isn't working, so let's pull the timing back a bit, which basically, in simple terms, lowers the horsepower. You're not going to get as much as you're wanting because of the fuel being not as good. Whereas the higher the octane, you can obviously produce more horsepower. I basically ran the 93 octane tune to remove any complications and any kind of pre-ignition timing and all that kind of jazz. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, but I ran that so the engine would run safe and that we could basically eliminate the knock and it pulling the timing back. Now, unfortunately, on my day on the dyno, I couldn't actually manage to flash it to any other tunes. I did want to run a 95 octane tune and see if we could push any more horsepower. However, it was exceptionally warm. The air intake temps weren't going down, so our runs were pretty limited. However, if you want to see this thing screaming on the dyno, I'll put a clip on screen now. And if you want to hear this thing outside, like actually driving on the roads, I'll put a clip on screen now of a stage 2 tune. So this was before I went to stage 2 plus. And bear in mind the car is still on stage 2. I only ran it on stage 2 plus for the dyno figures. Now another thing a lot of you guys will probably ask in the comment section is the transmission. What have I done? Well, there's no gearbox update on this because the car comes with a 6-speed manual. And for anybody who didn't catch yesterday's video, there is the dyno figure of the actual car on the dyno. 432 brake at the fly, as well as 541 foot-pounds of torque. So yeah, pretty impressed with that. But regarding transmission, there's no XHP, it's completely stock. Whether my car made more horsepower because it was manual, or would it have made more with automatic, I don't know. I haven't got two cars to combine them and do tests against. However, to achieve 432 horsepower, roughly, I mean, it would have definitely been more if the air intake temperatures were lower. If we were at like 25 degrees Celsius air intake temps, there would have been a lot more play for more horsepower. However, if you want to see a dyno run in the winter time, when we can do a much more controlled environment without the air intake temps creeping up so high, let me know. However, looking at this N55 here, looks pretty stock, and it's pretty impressive that you can gain upwards of 100 horsepower without any serious modifications on top, and pretty much a stock engine. And that is basically everything you need. However, there are a few little catches with this. This right here is where you put your oil in your N55. This is a very crucial thing about oil changes. BMW recommend changing the oil on this N55 every 15,000 kilometers, which I think is just outrageous. On a tuned car, you should never be leaving it long intervals. I change the oil on this every 3,000 to 4,000 miles. And the reason I do this is because the car's tuned. I push it hard, I drive it hard. It has a hard life. So the oil is like the blood of the engine. The more frequently you change it, the less risk you have running into problems. So I would say that if you're looking to chase horsepower, just make sure you have the maintenance modifications and bolt-ons and everything sorted first, because you don't want to be risking damaging your engine. And also, just make sure you're spending your money on the correct things first, like brakes, tyres, suspension parts if they're knocking, all the important stuff before you start chasing horsepower. And that's what I did. Yes, the car's 432 horsepower, but I've got upgraded brakes, pads, fluid, there's braided lines in there, 2-piece discs. Everything is set up on the car to be capable to handle the horsepower. And that's just a really important part, because I see on Facebook groups every day of people saying, oh, I've tuned my car, especially M235i owners. I've tuned it to 450 brake, however, I've cooked my brakes. And the reason is because you're chasing crazy horsepower in a little hatchback like that. The brakes aren't adequate for the horsepower that the car is now. And obviously they've spent a lot of money tuning it, but they haven't prioritised handling and brakes first. And it's all good having the horsepower and having the power to be able to go fast. However, the most important thing is being able to stop. It's no good going absolutely flat out 160 mile an hour on the autobahn and then you can't stop, because then you're dead. And I've done absolutely loads with this car. I've taken it around Castle Combe, which is a British racetrack. I've taken it around the Nürburgring twice, driven it to Germany twice, and it's been absolutely faultless. And one of the main reasons for that is because I'm on top of the maintenance. I can't stress it enough, especially for M55 owners, but just engines in general. If you look after them, they will look after you, and that's a fact. So for the sake of like £60 to do oil filter and basically flush it all out, put a new oil in, just do it. I mean, like 60 quid is pennies compared to the fact of if your engine spun rod bearings or it went bang or whatever, then you're talking thousands. So it's just really important to prioritise the maintenance before you do anything with chasing crazy power. Now, another thing I will mention is pop and bang maps. I don't have pop and bang maps on this car all the time. Yes, I have the multi-switch map thing with MHD, so I have a burble map setting. I have it on kind of a gunshot mode, which I might put a clip on screen now. And I've also got it on just kind of loud, long burbles, put a clip on screen now as well, if I do have them. However, most of the time, as you would have seen in the dyno run, I don't run any burbles at all. And that is because the turbo's got enough stress on it as it is running the tune. By putting unnecessary fuel inside the exhaust manifold, little explosions, or large ones in fact, because they're quite hard burbles, that's just creating so much more stress on the turbo, which it doesn't really need. It's got a hard life as it is. And I see a load of people on Facebook, again, the turbo's smoking, and they've blown it up because basically they've gone to like McDonald's car park, they've got some guy to map their M240 with the most crazy aggressive burbles, like flames this big. And yes, it's cool for the first month, but then when you've got to find a couple grand to change your turbo, it's not so much fun. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something. Simple things: good fuel, MHD, you can tune it with yourself, and then you can flash it back to stock at any point. Good fuel, MHD, intercooler, cooler spark plugs. Do something with the exhaust. I'm not going to tell you to do anything illegal, but that can be down to you and your own choice, and you'll have to be responsible for the causes of it. But it's like 5 things, I would say, all in to get the car there. You're probably looking at £1,000, and that's making sure that everything is safe as well. So not too much, definitely worth the money. The car is so much fun. I can't stress how much fun it is with the power. And sometimes it's nice just to flash it back to stock, enjoy the 326 horsepower it has, standard, which is plenty. And then when you flash it to stage 2 again, it's like, oh my life, this car's insane. But yeah, really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did learn something, leave a comment down below. If you want to give the video a like, you can, and it'll really help me out. And if you want to see a load more content on the N55, as well as a 240 with the B58, that's away at the moment, but it will be back. If you want to see videos on all these, hit the subscribe button. It would mean the world to me, and it will support the channel. Apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.